The Motorola Droid Ultra was announced just a week before the company's flagship, the Moto X. Both devices are way too similar for their own good, and both will be available on Verizon's lineup for $200 on contract. The main difference between the two is that the Droid Ultra, which we're reviewing today, has been given the full Verizon treatment. It's an exclusive after all, so the carrier gets to have a lot more say on how the phone is designed and what kind of bloatware comes preloaded. We would say that the Droid Ultra is actually a somewhat sleek device that could be attractive to potential buyers, with a thin frame, light feel, and a cool Kevlar honeycomb pattern underneath. But unfortunately, its glossy plastic back makes it hard to take seriously because it picks up fingerprints, dust, and other grime way too easily. The Ultra has a 5-inch 720p AMOLED display. It offers great viewing angles but mediocre brightness in direct sunlight. Though otherwise, it's a perfectly acceptable screen that we've been quite happy using. You'll also get a Motorola X8, which is basically Motorola's 1.7 GHz in-house dual-core chipset that will come standard in all of Moto's latest phones. But you won't find any wireless charging capability here. If you want that feature, you'll need to opt for the Droid Max, which will also come with more storage space, a larger battery, and a soft-touch plastic casing instead of the glossy plastic. The camera is a relatively decent 10 megapixel affair, which Motorola refers to as clear pixel. Now, it doesn't have very many tweakable settings and the user interface is quite minimal, so this may not be for you if you're a hardcore imaging enthusiast. Daylight pics are pretty well detailed, but you won't be able to take night shots without getting a lot of noise along with it. The most clever part of the camera is the double twist feature that we saw on the Moto X, in which you can turn the phone over twice like a doorknob, and you'll jump straight into the camera app, ready to take pictures. You can also take advantage of Motorola's app, which is a way for you to beam your photos to your friends and family. Unfortunately, they have to be less than 1,000 feet away from you and happen to have the Motorola's app installed on their phone as well. So it's not quite as practical as the standard Android Beam feature, or simply sharing it via email or other means. In addition to Zap, the Droid Ultra has all of the Moto X's other defining software features, such as active notifications, which briefly pulse on the screen whenever you pull the phone out of your pocket or off the desk. There's always listening mode, where the phone recognizes when you say "OK Google now" and activates a voice assistance program, and plenty more. When it comes to battery life, we had no qualms with the Droid Ultra. It's not nearly as good as some of the other devices that we've used in the past, but we've expected to get a day's worth of use out of the Ultra, and that's pretty much what we got. During a full workload day, which consisted of emails, using the device as a mobile hotspot, navigating using GPS, taking pictures and videos, making phone calls, and doing plenty of social networking, we actually made it through 11 straight hours before we needed to find an outlet. We've seen better, of course, but we've definitely seen much worse on other mid-range and high-end phones. Motorola claims that mixed usage will get you 28 hours. We're not exactly sure what they mean by mixed use, but we could definitely see 28 hours if you really don't use the phone much at all. In closing, the Droid Ultra is a fine device, but it doesn't really bring anything new to the table that the Moto X doesn't offer. They're the same price and will feature the same specs, although the Ultra does have a slightly larger screen. So it really comes down to your own personal preference. For sure, it's one of the hardest phones to keep clean, and its plastic casing won't appeal to everyone, especially when it's offered for $200. But at least it performs admirably, even if it doesn't use the latest and greatest processors out there. That said, we can't fully recommend paying that much money for a device like this when you can get something like the Galaxy S4 and soon to be the HTC One for the same price. These are but a few details about our experience with the Droid Ultra. Head to Engadget.com and we'll fill you in on all the rest.